Hello everyone and welcome back. So for today's video we are going to be looking at the vampires from Priest. In a world where the line between man and monster has pretty much been blurred, the film Priest brings to life a terrifying vision of a post-apocalyptic battle between humanity and the ultimate predator, vampires. These aren't your typical creatures of the night. In Priest, vampires are monstrous, feral beings that embody the primal fears of humanity. But the question is, what makes these vampires so different from the ones we're used to seeing? Today we're going to dive into the dark and twisted lore of the vampires from Priest, exploring their origins, biology, and relentless war against mankind. The vampires of Priest are ancient beings, predating even recorded history. In the world of Priest, these vampires have existed for millennia, engaged in an endless war with humanity. Unlike the seductive, cunning vampires of traditional folklore, the vampires in Priest are portrayed, as I said, as monstrous, almost alien-like creatures. They are depicted as predatory, yes, but they are driven by an insatiable hunger for human blood. As humanity evolved, so did the vampires. And for centuries, humans built fortresses, developed weapons, and even formed religious orders to combat the vampire threat. This centuries-long war eventually led to the near destruction of both species. But it wasn't just humanity that adapted. The vampires themselves evolved into a more dangerous form, becoming even more scary, more terrifying, as they learned to hunt and kill with greater efficiency. As I mentioned, the vampires in Priest are distinctly different from traditional depictions. They are a long way from the charming, undead aristocrats we're used to seeing. Instead, they are biologically distinct, almost like a different species altogether. These vampires are hairless, with pale, almost translucent skin. They lack eyes, relying on their heightened senses of hearing and smell to track and hunt their prey. Their large fangs and powerful jaws are designed for one purpose: to rip flesh and drain blood. However, within the vampire species there is a strict hierarchy. At the top are the vampire queens, the most powerful and intelligent of their kind, capable of controlling entire vampire hives. Beneath them are the common vampires, feral, animalistic creatures that hunt in packs. These vampires are the foot soldiers in the war against humanity, driven by primal instincts and a relentless hunger. That much has not changed. Then there are the familiars, humans who have been infected by vampires but have not fully turned. They serve as slaves to the vampires, acting as spies and servants. These familiars retain some human characteristics but are twisted into grotesque, subservient forms, forever loyal to their vampire masters. The war between humans and vampires reached its peak when vampire attacks grew more frequent and deadly. This resulted in humanity turning to the church, which formed a special order of warriors known as the Priests. These elite fighters were trained in combat, blessed with holy powers, and tasked with eliminating the vampire threat. The Priests were humanity's last line of defense, fighting with a combination of faith, skill, and sheer determination. The Priests were revered and feared for their abilities, often seen as the only hope against the vampire scourge. But as the war dragged on, and the vampires grew more cunning and resilient, the Priests faced increasingly difficult battles. Despite their efforts, the war ultimately ended in a stalemate, leading to a fragile peace where humanity was forced to live within walled cities, protected by the church, while the vampires retreated to the wastelands. Among the vampires in Priest, none is more terrifying or significant than Black Hat, the first human to be turned into a vampire. Black Hat was once one of the most skilled and devout priests, but after being captured and turned by a vampire queen, he became something far more dangerous, a being that possessed both the strength and powers of a vampire and the strategic mind of a priest. Black Cat's transformation marks a turning point in the vampire war. Now he is no longer just a mindless predator. He is a visionary with a new purpose. He seeks to unite the vampire hives under his control and lead them into a final, devastating assault against the remaining human cities. With his knowledge of human tactics and his new vampire powers, Black Cat becomes the greatest threat humanity has ever faced, a being that can outthink and outfight any opponent. As I mentioned, at the top of the vampire hierarchy is the Queen, a being of immense power and intelligence. The Vampire Queen is not just a leader, she is the source of the hive's strength, capable of controlling the actions of all vampires within her domain. Her immense size and strength make her a nearly unstoppable force, and her presence instills fear in even the hearts of the bravest priests. The Vampire Queen's role in the war is crucial. She directs the horde with a strategic mind, coordinating attacks that overwhelm human defenses. Her ability to create new vampires, especially turning powerful humans like Black Cat, allows her to expand her influence and build an army capable of conquering the remaining human strongholds. The Queen's very existence threatens the survival of humanity, making her the ultimate predator in the world of priests. With humanity confined into fortified cities and the vampires lurking in the wastelands, the world is constantly in a state of tension. The church continues to train priests, knowing that the vampire threat has not been fully eradicated and that another war could break out at any moment. As long as vampires exist, the battle for survival will continue. The humans may have won the last war, but vampires are always evolving, always waiting for the next opportunity to strike. The vampires of Priest are more than just monsters. They are a reflection of humanity's darkest fears. Their relentless hunger, their monstrous evolution, and their capacity for warfare make them a unique and terrifying force. And there you have it, guys, that is my take on the vampires from Priest. If there is anything you want to add, then make sure you do so in the comments section below, and I'll respond to the first few comments that appear. Thanks again, and I'll chat to you all very soon.